wanted to compare the prices between two big New Zealand supermarkets, which are Countdown and New World. I assumed that there would be like a massive difference between the two of them, but when I went and did my shopping in both supermarkets and I compared the results and the receipts, I was so surprised at the results. Hi guys, welcome back to the Shackles of Debt. My name is Tembi, and on this channel I talk about money and finance. I also talk about my life here in New Zealand. If this is your first time here, then welcome. If this isn't your first time here, then thank you so much for coming back again. Today I'm going to compare what the cost of groceries was when I went shopping in Countdown and New World. Now, as some of you may know, and if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I am a die-hard Pack and Save fan. Like, I always do my shopping at Pack and Save, but these last couple of weeks I was very intrigued to see if there was any difference between Countdown and New World. So whenever I've gone to Countdown and New World in the past, I'd always gotten like one or two items, but I've always felt like those items were like pretty expensive compared to what I would normally pay in Pack and Save. But I was interested to see like what is the difference between these two supermarkets, if any at all. To be honest, I assumed that Countdown would be like the more expensive one, but I was so surprised at what I discovered in the end. So this is how I went about doing this. So I made a list of about 20 different items that people typically put on their grocery list, and they encompassed everything from dairy to meat to vegetables to fruits. So there was like a small representation of each category of shopping, and I tried to get exactly the same items with the same branding in both of the supermarkets. In cases where that wasn't necessarily possible, I got what like the closest matching item was to it. So I'm going to take you through the shopping list, and I'm going to show you what each item cost in each supermarket, and then at the end we'll look at the grand total and we'll have a look to see which one was more expensive, and if there was a difference, how big this difference was. And I've got both of the receipts and I've written them down here on my computer, so I'm going to be looking down whilst I go through these items. So the first thing I got was a snack. They're like these pea snacks, they're like the best thing ever. In New World, one packet costs $7.98, but in Countdown they didn't have the same flavor as the one I got in New World, but they had like a multi-pack option, which was the closest match to what I'd gotten in New World, and that costs $4.50, which was almost half of what it was in Countdown. The next item on my list was muesli. In New World, that packet costs $5.49, and in Countdown it costs $5.50, which it's only a 1 cent difference actually. The next thing I got was Mr. Muscle Surface Spray. In New World it cost $2.99, but in Countdown it costs $4. And I'm actually quite surprised about this because it was pretty much the same thing with the same branding. So I would have assumed that it would have been the same price, but there's like a whole $1 1 cent difference between the two. The next thing I got was 6 size 7 free range eggs, and I couldn't quite find the matching brands between the two of them, so I just got 6 size 7 free range eggs in both of the supermarkets. But the one that I got in New World cost $4.39, but the one that I got in Countdown cost $5, which was a difference of 21 cents. So it was more expensive in Countdown. And the next thing I got was some liquid honey. Now, I know honey was expensive, but like I didn't realize just how expensive honey actually is, because in New World it costs $8.29 for 450 gram bottle of like liquid squeezable honey, but in Countdown it costs $8.90, and that was for 500 grams. I think these are quite similar actually in price, because the one in Countdown was a larger weight of 500 grams compared to the 450 grams one in New World, but still almost $9 for some honey. Like, that is so expensive. The next item I got was some peanut butter, exactly the same brand. In New World it costs $4.89, but in Countdown it costs $4.90. So there was only a 1 cent difference between those two, so you can say they were exactly the same. The next thing I got was each store's own brand of long grain rice. In New World that was $1.19, but in Countdown that was $1.90, which was Again, that is a huge difference between those two. It's actually quite expensive. The next item I got was bread. Now, if you've seen this channel before, you know how obsessed I am with Vogel's bread, especially soy and linseed. It is like the best bread ever, and I'm actually addicted to it, I think. In New World, it costs $4.49, but in Countdown, it costs $4, which was actually a bit confusing because that's a whole like almost 50-cent difference for exactly the same bread, like exactly the same brand, same weight, but there's a huge difference between the two. I then got some frozen salmon. In New World, it was $11.99, so almost $12. But the same item, which was 2 portions of salmon, in Countdown was $12. So these were pretty much equal. There's only 1 cent difference between those two. I then went and got some bananas. So I got 3 bananas in each store. In New World, they were $1.73. So they were actually $3.29 per kilo. And in Countdown, in total, they were $2.53 and they were $3.30 per kilo. So there's 1 cent difference between what each store charges per kilo of bananas. So this price difference is probably due to the fact that I just got heavier bananas in Countdown. The next items I got was some capsicums. I got some green, red, and yellow capsicums. I got 3 each in each store, and across both stores, they were each $3.79. So there wasn't a difference between those two again. I then got an orange kumara. In New World, that cost me $3.35, but in Countdown, it was $2.53. You know, it was actually quite a big price difference. Overall, it is more expensive in New World because New World was charging $4.49 per kilo, whereas in Countdown, it was $3.50 per kilo. The next item on my list was a lemon. In New World, it was 78 cents, and in Countdown, it was 59 cents. So yes, it was cheaper in Countdown. The next item I then got was 2 oranges, and in Countdown, they were $2.45, but in New World, they were $1.90. The next item I got was a bag of onions. In Countdown, they were $3.29. In New World, they were $2.80. So they were way, way, way cheaper. So that was a whole 50-cent difference between the two. The next item I got was a salad mix. I couldn't find the exact same branding across both stores. So I just got the closest matching salad mix between the two. And in Countdown, it was $5.99. So almost $6 for salad mix, but it was $5.30 in Countdown. So that was actually a bit cheaper. The next item, which had a price difference that actually surprised me, was milk. So I got a small 1 liter milk in Countdown that was $2.55, and in New World that was $3.02, which was a whole 46-cent difference between the same size milk in both stores. The next item, which also had a price difference despite it being the same item, was the Greek yogurt. So I got exactly the same yogurt across both stores, but in New World, this Greek yogurt costs $5.69, but in Countdown, it was $6.50, which is almost $1 more for exactly the same thing. The next item I got was some wine. So I got the closest matching Pinot across both supermarkets, and in New World, that cost me $9.99, but in Countdown, that cost me $12.50. So there was a difference in between the wine for both of them. The last item I got was some chicken breast. So I got 1 kg worth of chicken breast from both stores. In New World, that cost me $13.56, but in Countdown, that same 1 kilo chicken breast cost $15.45, which is quite a big difference for exactly the same weight in chicken. So the grand total of the items that I bought in New World was $112.35, and the grand total of the items that I bought in Countdown were $114.62. I was so surprised that this difference wasn't higher. I assumed that Countdown was like the more expensive overall supermarket. I thought there would be like a $50, $60 difference, but I'm shocked it was only $2. And I'm surprised that both of these supermarkets are almost equal, which kind of indicates that you can shop at either one of these and you really wouldn't expect to be paying any more or saving any more than you would at the other. And yes, granted, this wasn't necessarily a perfect experiment. Still, I think the results are actually quite revealing. However, both of these are still way, way, way more expensive than Pack and Save ever is. So in future, I don't see myself leaving Pack and Save to go to either of these. Are you guys as surprised as me? Did you you think that one supermarket was more expensive than the other? Do you shop at either of these? Like, how much do you pay for your groceries every month? And I'm really interested to know, like, if you shop at either of these, do you think one is more expensive than the other? Let me know in the comments down below and let's have a conversation about this. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. I will see you in the next video. Bye.